story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my son and his wife out after they took my daughter's room? I'm a single mom of two, Dale 22 and Kim 15. My late husband passed away when Kim was 10. It was too much because it's hard being a single mom. Everyone in my life has never stood by me, and where I'm from, society tends to be harsh on single moms. I always felt much stress with all the responsibilities, and everyone expecting me to give up. There were many times when I felt like a failure, and I never want to be seen as a failure in my children's eyes. I want them to look up to me, learn from my experiences, and learn to stand by themselves and be strong. Kim is the apple of my eye. She went through so much, and I tend to be overprotective of her, as they say. I was with someone, a police officer, who was nice to me, but once I noticed how poorly he treated Kim, I told him to leave immediately. I decided to focus on Kim. Dale and his wife are expecting. He's been unemployed for months, and they left their rental apartment and moved in with us temporarily. However, his wife started disrespecting Kim's privacy, walking into her room, constantly taking her things and ruining them. They brought boxes of baby stuff and stored them in Kim's room. I told her to move the boxes to the storage room, but Dale made excuses that the stuff might get damaged. Dale and his wife talked about staying for a few more months. She's 8 months pregnant, till after the baby is a few months old. His wife suggested that my daughter move into my room and they take her room and turn it into a nursery. I said no, and it's not up for discussion. Dale understood, but his wife didn't like it. Kim came to me saying Dale's wife is trying to convince her to give her room to her nephew. So I told Dale's wife firmly to stop annoying Kim. Yesterday, I came home and found Dale moving Kim's stuff out of her room, replacing it with her baby stuff. Kim was in the living room waiting for me and she was crying. I was livid. Dale's wife made her a sandwich to calm her down. I saw Kim's room. Her bed was moved. Her favorite posters, her closet and graphic art, some were put there by her dad, and I confronted them. Dale said it was his wife's idea and told him she'll work it out with me later. I got into an argument with her. I lashed out at her after she said Kim can take the storage room. I told them to leave immediately. They argued for an hour, then left. Then my mom and sister called me in the evening, asking how I could kick my own son out, and told me to let them move back in. I refused, and now they're calling me bad mom, saying I'm playing favorites. Dale's wife talked about putting the nursery together and taking pictures of it to share on a Facebook page for everyone to see. That's what Dale told me, which made me feel upset, to be honest. Now for the top comments. Dale and his wife could easily have shared their room with a baby for a few months. You and your daughter were already making a great sacrifice sharing a home with a newborn. That wasn't good enough. They think that everybody should have to sacrifice for their child, but that is not how the world works. You have a responsibility to protect your daughter and make decisions in her best interest. That is what you did here. You are not an a-hole. You are a wonderful mother who was forced to make a painful decision to protect her child. Well done. I suggested that, but Dale's wife didn't like it. I understand that they're struggling, but this has been Kim's room since she was little. It's her safe place. She has a lot of memories with her dad in it. The posters they removed were put there by her and her dad. So these are her childhood memories they ruined. It's not okay to do that. Not an a-hole. If your mom and your sister feel you were wrong, then maybe they can open up their home to Dale and his wife. What about wife's family? Maybe they can open their home up to them? You were and are protecting your child, Kim. This isn't the first time they call me a bad mom. Soon as my late husband passed away, my own family criticized me and put a lot of pressure on me. My daughter is my priority. It's my duty as her only parent to protect her. Not an a-hole. Full stop, no question. Your adult son and his wife bullied a teenage girl and completely disregarded your authority. You had far more patience with either of them than I likely would have had after the wife began intruding on Kim's privacy and trying to push her out of her room. Your son is an adult, and so is his wife. They've had months to comfortably try to look for a new home and, for Dale, new work. Instead, they've been trying to take over and shirk their responsibilities as adults and soon-to-be parents. You cannot take them back in. That will never work out, and will send the message to your daughter that you don't care about what they've been doing to her. As for your other family trying to berate you for this decision, tell them if they are so concerned about your son and his wife, they can take the two in and care for them, plus the baby. Otherwise, ignore them and focus on raising your daughter. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister see her kids? I have a full custody of my nephew, 10, and niece, 9. I have recently decided it would be best for her children not to see her, due to the last visit they had together where she came to visit her children, hi, and her children could barely recognize her. They didn't even want to give her a hug, and when I was driving them home, my nephew said, "That wasn't my mom. She kinda looks like her, but she acts, looks, and smells different." I asked them if they'd want to see her again, and both of them said maybe when she gets better. Now, I'm young in my early 20s with no children of my own, and I honestly worked my butt off to get custody of their children, which was harder because everyone thought I was too young. I made it my goal to protect them and put them before my husband, myself, and everything else. As much as it hurt me to send my sister a message saying she's no longer allowed around her children until she's off substances, I felt like I had to do it for my niece and nephew. She sent me a message saying I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still young and I'm trying to steal her children from her, that I'm jealous of her and all types of stuff like that. My mom thinks that I'm not doing the right thing, that the children deserve a connection with their mom, and that seeing the children will help my sister as well, and that my sister is trying her best, that I made things worse for her. I'm honestly not sure if I made a mistake. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my sister to see her children? Now for the top judgment. Not an a-hole. Those kids are not your sister's support animals. She can see them when she's in a condition the kids will not be frightened or put off by. OMG, I love this. If she's changed so much that her own kids barely recognize her and don't want to hug her, after not seeing her for however long, that speaks for itself. They don't owe her anything for being brought into the world. Your mom can kick rocks too. That's a crazy way of thinking. Your sister couldn't care less about her kids, or she wouldn't be getting worse. She'd be moving mountains to get clean and get them back. I'd be going low contact with mom and setting boundaries with your sister. You're not an a-hole. You're the best thing that could have happened to them. Your mom would be putting those poor kids through hell helping your sister. Not an a-hole. Generally, when an addict tells you you're an a-hole for not giving them what they want, the addict is spouting nonsense. She's had her children removed by CPS, and is now telling you that you're jealous and don't know what you're doing? My mom thinks that I'm not doing the right thing, that the children deserve a connection with their mom, and that seeing the children will help my sister as well, and that my sister is trying her best, that I made things worse for her. The children deserve a connection with a healthy, stable mother. They do not deserve to be exposed to a mother who is constantly high, and they do not deserve to be used as tools to help an adult woman recover. Not to mention, the children have already voiced their opinion. That doesn't get bulldozed so that they can be used as pawns to help your sister. Your mom is very much wrong. Seeing their mom on substances will only harm the kids that you fought so hard to get custody of to protect. You're not the a-hole. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker my partner is not her child's father? I'm 29 male, my partner is 25 male, and my coworker is about 22 female. My coworker, who I'll call Tiffany, is one of those likable but flaky people. She's nice, but she's a bit of an airhead. Tiffany got unexpectedly pregnant a year before we started working together, and the father is not involved. I know this because she tends to make vent posts on social media that are open to anyone who's following her. She posts a lot about issues with her kid because her kid has a disability. My partner loves kids. He's a social worker, and he raised his siblings growing up. I think his ideal family would be the Brady Bunch. I don't want kids, so we compromised by getting a dog. He saw one of her posts about 3 years ago and DM'd her telling her that he's helped kids with her kid's disability, and he'd be happy to give her some advice. Since then, he's been very involved with her and her kid's life. Pre-quarantine, he would go over all the time and help out, and stay on the phone with her when she was having a crisis. I never had any problem with it because her kid has a lot of issues, and I know Tiffany was drowning in it. I also want to say I've never been jealous at all because although my partner also likes women, he's bisexual, he's just like this. Anyway, during quarantine, the relationship has started to annoy me more. Tiffany and her kid will FaceTime my partner while we're watching a movie, so he can tell the kid a bedtime story. He'll tell me that he misses seeing Tiffany and the kid because they're like family to him. When we finally went back to work yesterday, Tiffany told me how much her child misses my partner and how all the things he's been doing for them have been really getting them through the hard times. I agreed that what my partner was doing was nice, but then I told her that if her kid is missing him, their relationship is starting to get unhealthy. My partner is not your child's father, and he shouldn't be taking that place in their life. I told my partner, and he said I was being a jerk. He said that the kid could only benefit from having a good male role model, and if the kid sees him as a father figure, there's nothing wrong with that. He also apologized to Tiffany. I don't really see where what I did was wrong, as creating boundaries is important. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Yikes. This seems to be about way more than just Tiffany and your kid. Your husband wants kids and you don't, so you compromised by getting a dog? If your husband wants kids, he's never going to stop wanting them, and it will probably lead to him resenting you. You guys aren't on the same page at all. Edit. Forgot to add a judgment. At this point, I'd say you're the a-hole. Yeah, this is what I was thinking the entire time reading. Soon as I saw, so he compromised by getting a dog. Lol, not how that works. Here's the thing. A compromise for someone who wants a lot of children is not dogs. Lol. He wants children. You don't. He's getting fulfilled from Tiffany and her kid. Not with you and your dog. I don't see your relationship lasting. Look long and deep at this. You're the a-hole. Yeah, I predict that Opie's partner will end up as Tiffany's husband. Not the a-hole for wanting boundaries, but I have a feeling your relationship is going to fail. Your partner wants kids, and having a dog is not going to fix that. The fact that he is so easily getting attached to someone else's kid is a sign that he's not going to be happy with a childless relationship for the rest of his life. It baffles me how couples can disagree on something as huge as having children and still think their relationship will work. If you want a stable relationship, you need to agree on 3 things: money, intimacy, and kids. You two need to sit down and have a long talk. Just jumping in to say, I don't think that's necessarily true. A lot of child-free people form affectionate bonds with other people's children, either relatives, friends, or, as in this case, kids in need of care that they're in a position to provide. It doesn't necessarily indicate dissatisfaction with their childlessness. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to accommodate my niece's vegan diet? My sister and her husband both lost their jobs, and as we had the space, we allowed them to move in with us. We have 2 daughters who are both vegan. Now, my wife and I have 4 children. Our 2 older girls are very sweet, and our boys both have autism. We essentially work our daily lives around them to make them more comfortable. As such, our meal plans are relatively simple. Some of the only foods they will both eat is chicken and cheese, so every meal we eat has at least one of those components. Of course, neither of these items are vegan. Our nieces both complain, and as we need meal time to be relatively stress-free for the boys, it's caused some problems. On top of this, we also have 4 dogs, 1 family dog, 1 dog who is a trained autism service dog, and our oldest daughter adopted 2 dogs at the beginning of April last year. Our oldest is doing an animal welfare course at college and plans on becoming a vet/dietitian. She explained the benefits of raw food, and as such, she prepares all 4 dog meals in the morning and refrigerates their evening meals. We don't force her. She chooses to do the other 2 dogs because she wants to get it perfect for them. Anyway, our 2 nieces are complaining about never being able to eat because there's always meat around. They refuse to eat at mealtimes because we serve meat and dairy. I explained that we aren't going to upturn meal plans we've had in place for years just for them. They could either deal with it or make their own food. They're both on hunger strikes, but I don't think I'm in the wrong. I offered to serve the sides, which are generally vegan, in larger portions for them, but cooking several different meals is not something I want to go back to. My sister is staying out of it, and her husband is just happy he's finally getting to eat meat again. My wife thinks I'm being harsh, but when I suggested she take over cooking, she suddenly agreed with me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. There are lots of options open to them. They can cook. Their parents can cook. They can eat packet food that doesn't require cooking. It's not on you to do all that work for them. I also appreciate that when you've got kids with very specific food needs, it's way too much to try and vary that to add in another diet. It's on your sister and her husband to find a solution that works for their daughters, but also for you. It's on your sister and her husband to find a solution that works for their daughters, but also for you. Yes, the bit about the sister staying out of it is ridiculous. Rope her into it. Info. Wait, your sister and her husband are both unemployed. Why are they not making vegan meals for their own daughters? Why does living with you have to mean that you also cook for them? And how old are the daughters anyway? I'm not sure. It's just sort of the way things panned out. And they're 17 and 15. Not a-hole. My sister is staying out of it, aka my sister is refusing to cook the food I buy for her kids who have dietary preferences, or is refusing to tell her kids to make their own dinners. Are you kidding me with this? Jesus! My kids have been making their own meals since 6. Lol. If they don't like what I made for family dinner, they're more than welcome to make whatever they want with the items I have in the house. Your sister and her family are seriously ungrateful. Right? I was a picky eater, and if I didn't like dinner, I could just make peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever else. I was doing that in the 1st grade. The teenagers can make their own meals, not the a-hole. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.